You step into a Walmart, expecting an ordinary night of shopping. The aisles are familiar, the lights warm and welcoming. But what if just behind those shelves, something is waiting that you never expected? Something that's been hidden from view, something that doesn't belong. Tonight, we'll tell you 3 stories from inside Walmart, where the line between the normal and the unimaginable starts to blur. Stories that'll make you think twice before stepping into that store ever again. Welcome to Eerie Road Tales, the place where the unexplained and the terrifying come to life. Here we don't just tell stories, we make you feel them. From haunted places to strange occurrences, we bring you the most chilling true-life events that will make you look over your shoulder and question the world around you. If you think you've seen it all, think again. We venture into the darkest corners of the world, digging deep into the kind of mysteries that leave you unsettled long after the story ends. But remember, this isn't just about stories. This is about experiencing the unknown, the kind of stories that make you wonder if you're alone in the room, or if something's lurking in the shadows, waiting to step into your world. So, if you're ready to face the fear, if you have the courage to step beyond the realm of reality, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because trust me, you won't want to miss the horrors we have in store for you. Welcome to the Eerie Road, where terror knows no boundaries. Imagine late one night, you're working at Walmart. The store is empty, the aisles quiet except for the occasional hum of the overhead lights. Your shift is almost over, and the last thing you want is an unexpected interruption. But then, you hear it, a raised voice. A heated argument echoing through the store. It's Dale and Rena, 2 employees, arguing about something trivial at first, but then something shifts. Something changes. It's as if the very air thickens, and the tension in their voices grows darker. They storm into the restroom, their shouting filling the empty space. But what happens next is far from ordinary. A moment of silence. And then something unexplainable. The lights flicker and buzz overhead. But it's more than just the lights. There's an energy in the room, a presence, something that shouldn't be there. After that night, the restroom was never the same. At first, it seemed like just another malfunction. The lights flickering, strange noises echoing from the empty stalls. But soon, employees began to notice something much more disturbing. Every time someone entered that restroom, a strange feeling would wash over them. The walls felt colder, the air thicker. And it wasn't just the flickering lights. It was the whispers, soft voices, barely audible at first, but growing louder with each passing day. Some even swore they could hear footsteps, pacing back and forth in the stalls. But when they checked, no one was there. One night, a janitor, cleaning the restroom after hours, made the mistake of entering the cursed stall. He couldn't explain it, but when he stepped inside, the temperature dropped. He froze, unable to move, feeling as though someone was watching him from the shadows. And that's when he heard it, the unmistakable sound of breathing behind him, slow and deliberate. He turned, only to find the stall empty. No one was there, but as he left, he felt a heavy presence following him, an unseen force pushing him out. Since then, no one has dared enter that stall again. And the eerie whispers, the cold air, the flickering lights, these all remain, a constant reminder that something is still there, something waiting. Was the stall truly cursed? Or was it just the product of an overactive imagination, fueled by a late-night argument and a few strange occurrences? One thing's for sure, the employees that worked there after that night never quite felt the same again. Some even transferred out of the store, refusing to return. But the whispers, the cold air, and the flickering lights remain, and the mystery of the cursed stall continues to haunt that restroom to this very day. Do you think this was just an eerie coincidence, or do you believe something darker is at play here? Have you ever experienced anything similar in a place that was supposed to be safe? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's see what you believe. Maybe you have a story of your own that could shed light on this chilling mystery. Lucas, a young man with Down syndrome, had always dreamed of working at Granfield Market inside Walmart. He loved it there, the bustle of customers, the hum of the store at night, and the sense of independence that came with the job. For him, it wasn't just work. It was a place where he felt valued, where he felt like he belonged. But that feeling would soon be shattered. The mistreatment started small. At first, a harsh word here, a dismissive gesture there. But it grew, day by day. His supervisors pushed him harder, ridiculing him in front of customers, giving him the most grueling tasks, with little regard for his well-being. Lucas endured this cruelty for months, but one fateful night, it all became too much. After a particularly grueling shift, where his supervisor berated him in front of customers for something beyond his control, Lucas quietly left the store. The next morning, he was found dead, though no one can ever seem to agree on how. Some say it was a heart attack, others claim it was a panic-induced collapse. But one thing is certain, Lucas never came back to work. His death, whether from natural causes or something else, was not the end of the story. In the days that followed, strange things began to happen at the store. At first, it was small things, items out of place, shelves rattling for no reason. But then the whispers began, soft voices, barely audible, echoing through the aisles in the dead of night. Some said they could hear Lucas's name, repeated over and over. Others claimed the air felt unnaturally cold, a chill creeping through the warehouse where he once worked. But the whispers were only the beginning. One night, the store's employees began to notice something even more unsettling. Objects started moving on their own. A shopping cart would roll across the floor when no one was around. Boxes shifted on their own, as if an unseen hand was rearranging them. And worst of all, employees swore they saw shadowy figures in the corners of their eyes, figures that disappeared the moment they turned to look. But it wasn't just the physical anomalies. It was the feeling of being watched. The cold, heavy sensation that something or someone was standing right behind them, just out of sight. As the weeks went on, the occurrences became more frequent, more intense. Employees started quitting in droves, unable to shake the feeling that Lucas's spirit was somehow trapped in the store, seeking justice for the cruelty he had endured in life. But others weren't so sure. Some began to speculate that it wasn't Lucas's spirit at all, that something darker had taken hold of the store. Something far more sinister than the mistreated soul of a young man. Was it Lucas's mistreatment that caused these haunting events? Or was there something else, something far darker, that had taken root in the store, preying on the vulnerable? Some claim that Lucas's death wasn't just a tragic accident, but the consequence of forces beyond human understanding. Others say that his spirit lingers, angry and restless, a soul forever bound to the place where he was forgotten, mistreated, and cast aside. Could Lucas's mistreatment have led to these hauntings, or is something else causing the terror? What do you think is really behind the strange occurrences at Granfield Market? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe it's Lucas's spirit or something far more sinister lurking in the shadows? It's the kind of place you don't think twice about. A Walmart open 24 hours, the only store in town that never sleeps. But there are things in the night that don't belong. Things you're better off not seeing. This is the story of a man named Jeff. Just an ordinary man, or so he seemed, who had the misfortune of finding himself at Walmart when the world was asleep. What happened that night would change everything, not just for him, but for everyone who's ever stepped foot inside those doors after dark. Jeff had been to Walmart countless times before, like anyone else. He'd come in late at night after work just to grab a few things. It was his routine, a way to wind down after a long day. But that night was different. The air felt thick, heavy, as if something was pressing down on him. He shrugged it off at first. Late-night shoppers often feel like they're alone in the world. But Jeff couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't quite as alone as he thought. As Jeff moved deeper into the store, the sense of unease grew stronger. It was as though the walls themselves were closing in on him. He wandered the aisles, picking up his usual items, but he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. It wasn't just the store's cameras. No, this felt different. He couldn't pinpoint it, but something was in the air. Something watching him. It was when Jeff reached the back of the store that the strangest thing happened. The lights above him flickered, casting brief flashes of shadows on the walls. In that split second, he saw someone in the corner of his eye. A man standing perfectly still, staring at him from the end of the aisle. His face was pale, too pale, like he hadn't seen the light of day in years. Jeff froze. The man didn't move, didn't blink. He just stood there, staring. Jeff tried to walk closer, thinking it was just another shopper. But the closer he got, the stranger the situation became. The man's eyes, empty, hollow, never left him. It was as though he were frozen in time, unable to look away. And then, just as Jeff was about to speak, the man turned around and vanished into the shadows. Confused, Jeff turned to leave, but as he passed the next aisle, something caught his eye. The man's figure was now standing in the far corner of the store, his back turned to Jeff. But this time, he wasn't alone. There were others, emerging from the shadows, their faces twisted and distorted. They all stared at Jeff, unmoving, their eyes dark voids. The sense of dread was overwhelming. But before Jeff could react, the lights blinked out completely. The store went pitch black. When the lights returned, Jeff was alone once more. The strange figures, the man with the hollow eyes, gone. But as Jeff rushed to the exit, he noticed something in the reflection of the glass doors. A shadow just behind him. He spun around, but again nothing. The store was empty. He was alone. Was it a nightmare? Or was Jeff really not alone in that store? The truth, as always, is far more elusive. Some say it was the restless spirits of those who died in the store. Others claim it was something darker, something that followed him home. But one thing's for certain. Once you've seen the midnight shopper, you'll never look at your local Walmart the same way again. What do you think? Was Jeff simply seeing things? Or was there something more sinister lurking in the aisles? Have you ever experienced something like this in a store? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And let us know if you think the midnight shopper is real, or just a tale told to scare us. The store still stands, but something lingers in the air. What is it? Is it just the residue of terrible incidents, or is something darker still haunting the place? The questions remain unanswered for now. Stay tuned, because next time we'll dive into even darker tales from the world of retail. You won't believe what we uncover. Subscribe now so you don't miss what's next.